The funny thing with these, if we couldn't see the clubs, you would swear just based on that foot width to that foot width that's the longer club, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That was the 5-iron.
So you would be normally wider on a 5-iron.
No. You would. In theory, as the club gets longer,
you should be
the
wider.
stance gets a bit. Well, we're talking inches,
Yeah.
but that's the width you had there with a 5-iron.
Yes.
And that's the width you had with your 3-wood, yeah? So if you looked at those and didn't know what the club was, we would assume, well, that's going to be the longer club because the stance is wider.
Yeah.
The problem with that wider is, like I say, it's not a bad swing. I mean, it's a good turn of the rotation. The posture's looking good. We're getting to a really good impact there. That sort of reverse K we talked about there, looking really good.
And I can see my head behind the ball. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
so now when you come through, your arms can release through freely, There's no sort of chicken wing or pulling off. The problem is that right foot back where it is there now, you can't quite shift through as well.
No, I can
and then your right knee now is like, ugh. Now, when you're relaxed and there's no pressure on the shot and you can move freely, that restriction holds you back 5-10%, maybe 15%. So you get all right shots.
Yeah.
They're not disastrous. You add into that then a bit of consequence, a bit of anxiety, a bit of stress.
Right,
First
real
tee,
shots on the course.
Cold, haven't warmed up, all these things, those extra 2 or 3% are going to keep hitting up, and then suddenly now, rather than striking it as well you were today here, rather than in the ground here, you're now in the ground a bit behind the ball.
Yes.
And then you get that kind of little hooky one or whatever, that pulley one. So this one now with a 3-wood, again, slightly narrower stance. Again, take away and set up. Now everything now is moving back as kind of one movement there. If that comes from you thinking low and slow with that takeaway, absolutely fine. Okay, I'm not someone who's saying that there's one perfect or magical swing that you have to abide by. If you think I stand over that goal, I think low and slow, if that's your trigger, it works, carry on doing it. If we think that low and slow often leads to people sort of going trying to manufacture it too much, then we look at a different option going forward. Okay, but certainly with the stance there with that 3-wood's going to give you the opportunity now. Once you're at the top of the backswing here now, we can move that hip towards target.
You're definitely through it.
And it's ridiculously good, so much better. I mean, down that left side there, really good strike of the ball. Head, as we said, behind the ball, hands are in front. The reverse K that we're looking for is just literally there. And then through to target. Now you're able to get the knees more together. Now again, because they're not quite as close as they'd want to, partly because you haven't been used to doing it. I think you've been used to sort of hanging back with this right foot. I say now the right foot can move. We can just move the body a little bit more easily. Exactly. And I think when you're able to get there now, that's one thing. But you actually doing is another thing. From this width, the stance on here now, I don't think you're not going to do it at all. You try to do it, but it's like you're stretching as much as you can.
So I was too far.
So I'd be careful of this because obviously the very first session we looked at, we talked about with the stance being too narrow. And what happened is you've gone from being say somewhere around there to now and you haven't stopped. You just kept going.
The way that I go is better. I'm going to hit the ball.
And that's the thing. When you were very narrow, you lost a lot of stability. You couldn't move as well, and you went wider, and it was better. Then you went wider, and it was even better. And then you went too wide. Now you get. There's always it's like the old Goldilocks effect. You could be too narrow, you could be too wide, you could be too steep, you could be too shallow, you could be all of these things you can be.
And for the taller guy like me, it's exactly right what you're saying in terms of the feel of it.
And I think we need stability. Too wide, you've got loads of stability but no mobility. Too narrow, you've got no stability but loads of mobility. It's finding that kind of middle. And for most people, it's kind of shoulder width. A smidgen wider if it needs be for the drive or the free. But when we're talking smidgens, we are talking like
small.
I mean, I think you look at the width of stance on that left-hand one there. It's just way too wide.
What
you're going to struggle to move that.
What about the swing plane for? You may not.
Down the line
for the driver. Is it all right?
Yeah, it was good. The numbers are producing that. I mean, the launch angle's good. So if the swing plane was too steep, we'd either see a really low initial launch, which is why he may have given you the 12 degrees initially, or you'd be possibly popping up on the high of the club face and popping up really high. So when you get a really, really low launch, and we're talking like 6-7 degrees and down, or like at 18 degrees and up, then you're too steep and over the top. If you're coming in on a nice angle between that 12 and 14 number time and time again, you're in your ideal sort of swings. But then the balls we'd have a couple of mile an hour as well. So there's some really good numbers there. And the thing that's pleasing me is the body's moving now really well because the posture's better.
Like you said, the engine, that I'm feeling that more.
Exactly. And I think any part of you now feels that you're losing control of the golf club, The armsy swings that you said you were feeling were when the body stalled out and
Yes.
stopped because the stance was a bit too wide.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and then when you get to a point where you're coming down and you're like, "Ugh, I can't move," then the arms just sort of throw you round, and then you might lose a bit of balance because of that,
Yeah.
and you go, "Oh, I lost a bit of balance," and I can fix this.
Yeah.
It's only
You don't want
minute
to.
little micro
Yes.
movements you're making,
Yes.
but enough to make it a problem. Okay.
Well,